right. So, what on earth do we do as BizSmart when we're working with business owners? What actually do? Granger, you've been a franchisee for a little while now. Maybe we'll start with you.
Great question. Yeah, what do we do? So, the way I see it and interpret it in terms of doing that is we help our clients achieve what they've always wanted from their business.
Okay.
So business owners set out trying to achieve something, yeah. And I'm a business owner, now I have my objectives, what I want to achieve in terms of doing stuff. But what happens is you get stuck on the journey. We get a little bit lost in the delivery of everything that we have to do every single day. And so what we do is we help them to just pause and really think about the shape of their business, where they've got to on their journey. What are they trying to achieve? How are they going to find the growth, the profitable growth that they really need? And then picking out the right tools that exist in our arsenal of capable skills, which comes with the entrepreneurial scale-up system and Flight Academy, and delivering those to our clients piecemeal by piecemeal, that gives them the structures and the understanding of how to do it. And the other bit which I learned is then the accountability, because it's great to teach people. Yeah, that's easy. Well, it's not easy, but it's great fun. But actually, you then need to say to people, okay, so what have you done? Because they are so busy. We are so busy, and I know that myself in terms of trying to grow my business, in terms of things. We're busy in terms of doing that. So it's actually now time to have that accountability session and really help our clients to actually do these things. And sometimes we have to have some frank discussions with them.
Okay, so that sounds really good. And if somebody's just kind of coming cold and just seeing what we've got on the website, maybe, and hearing, what tangibly, what do we actually do? Luke, what have you seen us do? You've just come on board relatively recently. How would you put it?
Yeah, I think as the new boy, I certainly, my insights were I love coaching. I love working with people. Always been a passion of mine. But what I found fascinating about BizSmart and why I chose to join BizSmart was really around this thesis. It's the scale up system. It's how do you scale up? And you and I spend quite a bit of time. In fact, I've also spent some time with Granger talking about the same thing. But the idea of how do you make sure that you're the top of your pillar before you jump off to kind of scale up, to get to that next place that you want to be at? And how do you avoid those valleys of death? And for me, what I really enjoyed was a very practical, tangible, solid system that I could feel and understand in taking my business forward. So if I'm at this point, there's some maths and science that I can use to determine where I am on that journey, if I'm up and down that ladder. So it's not a gut feel. It's not an instinct. There's a system that backs it up, that says, okay, let's check these things. Let's do a little, you love your checklists. Obviously comes from flying fighter planes, that you got to check in on everything. But that's exactly what it is. You're checking in and making sure, right, I'm at the right place. I know where I am. I've checked all the maths, all the numbers work. Now I'm going to jump off. So I'm on top of the pillar. And I think for me, that ESIS system really kind of stood out and was very powerful. And I just wanted to be able to share that journey with other business owners.
Brilliant. Good. So there's that journey, that system. So what does it look like when we're working with a client then? Because there's lots of different ways that we could be working with clients. So what does it look like? What maybe makes us a little bit different as well in the way that we work? Granger, what would you say here?
Well, it again, once you've carried out that in-flight checks with the client, it's identifying what their journey is next. And it's really important that they choose their journey and know what they want to achieve through that. So what does it feel like? So, one of our products is Smart 90. Okay. And helping a client plan thinking about what the next 90 days is in a business in terms of doing that, and picking the key things that need to get done to achieve that. Okay, and that's great that we do that through one-to-one coaching, and we do that through the Smart 90 Club, depending on the level of business and the support they want to do that, because sometimes they're happy to do that in the peer review type process, which the Smart 90 Club. Sometimes they want to have their own Zoom room or their own individual time to help to do that. And then it's helping our clients to really think about what the next 90 days is in terms of delivering that. And also not being scared of it, because we can be too focused sometimes, maybe, you know, and think, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. But actually, it's an experiment. Yeah. And you can, in 90 days, you can change that experiment and try something else in terms of doing things. So first of all, it's about just working with our clients to think about that level, and that's what the Smart 90 does. It helps to sort of bring that little bit of structure and that little bit of organization. And then the clients will then say, okay, because we've built up that relationship with them, and we've got Smart 90 Plus, which then allows us to spend one-to-one time with them. And as Luke said, you've now done that diagnostic through the in-flight checks, and you can start to pick the key tools that they need to help them deliver that 90-day plan in terms of doing things. So you can now bring that individually to the client and help them think about in terms of doing that. And that's great in terms of that type of process. And then you've got the other clients that we're running, you know, Smart Boost programs, and they're on a very fixed schedule with you and a fixed set of tools that need to be delivered, because they're the first 7 tools that every business should understand to get right in terms of their business. And so those are, you know, a lot more, okay, we're going to talk about this now. We're going to develop this in your business. Okay, how are you going to do that? What's that solution for you? So it does vary depending on the product that we do to help their client in terms of grow and scale.
And Luke, why wouldn't you just go and do that yourself? You know, go and start up your own business and do that yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that's, if you just look at what Granger was talking about now with that experimentation and things. Now, the way we run it at BizSmart is you also get this peer-to-peer engagement. So you get to sit in a room of folks. And often as business owners, we're stuck in 2 minds. Either we're geniuses or we're dummies. We're not quite sure, you know, is this really the greatest idea I've ever had? You know, it feels like it. But what I love about when Granger talks about experimentation is we actually get to sit in a room, 5 or 6 other top quality business owners who may have had an experience like that. We get to test ourselves. We get to say, well, this is the thing that I'm thinking of doing. You know, what are the thoughts? And you can onboard all these other experiences and experiments that they've done into your thinking, which helps you make better decisions, faster decisions. And we'll quickly highlight the genius from the ones that aren't as genius ideas. But at the end of the day, the responsibility stays with me. I make those decisions. All I'm doing is allowing myself to get some inputs from other folks. And as Granger says, experimentation is what it's all about. And if I can leverage somebody else's experiment in making a quicker decision, I think that's another key thing that we do.
Brilliant.
And the other powerful thing that you get from working, you know, in BizSmart is you get to talk to a whole range of different types of clients. So you get to see their ideas and their structures and what they're trying to do in terms of, you know, their go-to-market and their products and services. You get to see where they've got stuck in terms of doing that. And actually that gives you the ability, as Luke said, through the peer review structure, but also just the one-to-one structure, to bring those different examples where, you know, when you're in a business and you're a business owner, you know, you might go networking, you might get a chance to speak to 1 or 2 people on the golf course, you know, in terms of opinion. But what we have through the ESIS, through the training that you've done, Kevin, with us, and then the wider network that we then build through the peer networks of meeting all these businesses, we have a huge range of opportunities, of ideas that we can bring to all our clients in terms of doing things. And that's what you don't get if you're just a business owner trying to set up and run and create your business.
Yes, and that's great. And because we're not then, you know, one of the worries I remember from when I was a management consultant is always trying to come up with the next clever thing to, you know, trying to add value. And if you know you're being charged out at some huge rate, there's all the pressures on us, isn't it, as individual to be the expert in the room. And I think partly what you're saying here, Granger, is we've got a backup to that, haven't we? Which A, in the system, but B, in the way that we deliver that means that we're not always the ones on the spot, are we? We're facilitating, teasing out all the great ideas from other people, and then adding on top some additional knowledge that we might have from it. And also we're learning ourselves all the time. So the more we do it, the better that we actually become ourselves, don't we?
Yeah, that's such a powerful point that you make there. You know, Kevin, when you talk about just setting up your own business, now I could run along, set up my own business and go and do my thing. And I have no doubt to be successful and really good at it. But in this particular environment, I've got access to people like Granger, who is more process driven and orientated than I would ever hope to be in a million years. So why not leverage off that? Whereas with yourself, you know, from the experience that you've had with how you kind of build something paying attention to the details, get everything, nicely in those checklists, everything working the way I got access to you to pull that stuff together. So the way I see it is I get to really promote my strengths and be, as strong as I can be in my area, and kind of leverage off the other things that you guys have got, and it's just going to make me better.
Brilliant. Good.
And likewise, in terms of Luke, it's experience in sales, and and understanding, the realization is we're all selling all the time in terms of doing that, and building those sales skills in an individual. So myself, in terms of doing that, and that experimentation in the marketing and trying the different marketing approaches, etc., in terms of doing things. So leveraging the skills that we've got across the whole franchise, that we can help each other in terms of growing our businesses.
Great. So anything else that we've missed that you think that we should add to somebody coming in who's just trying to inquire and find out a little bit more about how the franchise works and what we do?
So I would add, practice what you preach. Okay, so yes, we teach the entrepreneurial scale up system, but actually we're going through a journey of practicing it ourselves. So we're building the scalable products. Now you've got those for us, but you're giving us that opportunity to challenge that and really think about that in terms of what's right for the marketplace. We're developing, we can experiment with our own marketing within the guidelines that you gave us in terms of doing things. We can, we're developing our sales approaches as the more you do in terms of doing that. So we're learning not just to deliver the entrepreneurial scale up system, we're actually learning how to practice it ourselves, and that's the real power that you can then bring to your clients, and understanding in terms of doing that. So learning how to manage the money and have the financial control within something like Xero, in terms of understanding that, understanding the business rhythm and building your own business rhythm structures and your own smart 90s, and by practicing those things as well, we're not just, we can demonstrate to our clients we're really doing it, but actually it works. It helps you build a successful business. So why not do it in terms of doing stuff? So it's not just a model we're teaching people, it's actually what we're doing ourselves in terms of trying to do things.
Super. Thank you. Anything you'd add, Luke, at the end, or have we covered everything?
Yeah, I think just to add a little bit to what Granger was saying, what I love about everything that we do is the structure. It's not anecdotal. It's not something, it's really structured. It gives you the opportunity to grow in a very scientific and specific way. And inspiration is one thing. It's great to be inspired. It's great to have ideas, but you talk about the execution, and it's that structure that allows for the execution to be more seamless, driving the right activities, focusing on the rocks. And at the end of the day, what it boils down to us is we all love the clients that we're working with. We love the businesses we're working with. We want them to be as successful as possible. So yes, as Granger said, we hold them to account, as he said earlier, sometimes, more than others. But the point is, there's a solid system that you can follow. And if you're inspired and you can take those activities, I've got no doubt that we're going to affect a lot of businesses in a positive way.
Brilliant. Right. Thank you very much indeed. Great stuff. Hope that helps people to understand a little bit more about what we do.